King's Cultural Challenge is a means to connect students at King's with cultural organisations in the UK, allowing them to bring their ideas to the table working with cultural organisations. It's really about allowing creative thinking to be kick-started within King's so that students really feel that they have more knowledge to take into working in the arts as they go forward in their careers. So we've got 120 here today, and this is the first event that we've done for this year. We began today with Rob Gregg, who now is at the Houses of Parliament, with a provocation about how art changes lives and really encouraging students to just tweet in their ideas as part of this cultural hackathon. We've moved from that into an open space workshop, which is just giving total freedom to the students to self-select topics about what they want to discuss. Later on, we'll be hearing from our 4 partner organisations from the Roundhouse, South Bank Centre, the Royal Opera House and the V&A, and directors will be coming and giving provocations talking about what they're trying to do to evolve. And after that, we'll be going into Ideas Labs workshops where the students form teams alongside these directors, developing ideas to pitch to the room and for someone to win £500 at the end of the day.
I got involved with King's College Cultural Challenge about 3 years ago. That involved the Royal Opera House taking on a paid intern from King's who had won the Cultural Challenge. And the interesting thing about it, these students turn up and they really are full of ideas and they're incredibly capable and they add real value.
I heard about the challenge because I watched the video on Twitter.
I found it on Twitter.
I got an email from King's. I think the thing that drew me to it specifically was the talks.
I think it was because I was looking at the people who were going to be attending, the major organisations in the cultural sphere. I was just very interested to learn something from them and how they currently interact with us.
I just kind of want to see what other people are thinking because I don't usually get a lot of time to talk to people in other departments or in other groups to see what they're creating.
What are the challenges for cultural organisations to remain relevant to us?
It's kind of a really difficult question.
The biggest challenge would be that my generation is very fickle. I mean, we like this thing and then we like this thing 10 minutes later.
I think the biggest thing is these gaps of these perceived gaps of age, sex, gender, and specifically class.
You can't really pinpoint what makes things go viral or what makes a video successful on the internet or what makes people come to your show because it's different every single minute. So I think the cultural institutions need to be really flexible and need to be constantly engaging with current thoughts and current views of the youth.
But everyone loves art when they really get to it. So I think that's the main challenge, is making sure that everyone has access and that everyone knows that it's something that you don't have to be a scholar to engage in. You don't have to have money to engage in it. It's really for anyone, anywhere.
My name's Sian McLennan and I'm the Deputy Artistic Director of South Bank Centre.
I'm Heather Walker, I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Roundhouse.
I'm Carty Price, I'm Head of Digital Media at the Victoria and Albert Museum and we've been involved for the last few years in the King's Cultural Challenge.
I think there's real energy in the room, which is fantastic, and I was really, just as I arrived, I was seeing buzzwords that had been written down about access and people getting involved, and that seemed very timely and energetic to me, so I feel good about it. I think some good ideas will emerge by the end of this evening.
It's interesting, sometimes they're coming up with ideas that we've already thought about, but they're not constrained by practical issues like money and any of the sort of bureaucratic things that somehow quash some of the best ideas, I guess. They're completely open and unrestrained in their thinking, which is great.
The really important thing, I think, for cultural institutes is that they remain relevant. And to do that, they've got to have an eye on who their next audience is, who their next employees are. There's no better way of doing that than actually being around students and being able to listen to what matters to them. Because if we're going to make sure we're relevant today and in 10 years' time and in 50 years' time, we've got to understand who the constituent is now.
Most of all, I want everybody to have a really fun, exciting experience, an inspiring experience. And what we're really keen to demonstrate is that no matter who wins £500 on the day or the ideas which seem to float best, it's just about any ideas which are produced, students to take those forward in their thinking and working as they go forward. Even if it's not for applying for internships with these organisations, it's a foot into the world of the cultural sector. Take away the knowledge that you gain and talk to these people. For our organisations, I really hope it will be an instance of seeing what King's has to offer from its student base and how they can develop going forwards.